Welcome. I am the frail Blaze. Today's story is Latchkey Kid. A latchkey kid, or latchkey child, is a child who returns to an empty home after school, or a child who is often left at home with no supervision because their parents are away at work. I related a bit too much to this term growing up. My mother, to put it lightly, wasn't there, and my father preferred just chilling in his man cave to actually being a parent. I, being a naive kid, loved this life. I could bring whoever I wanted home, eat whatever I wanted, and do what I wanted when I wanted. I understand now just how bad it was, but luckily I'm in a better place now. This story happened at the tail end of my middle school career. We got to try planning out our schedules for the next school year, and I was excited to come home and do what I normally did. I got off the bus and walked down the street to my house. I barely put my hand on the door when something caught my attention. It was my dad, and he was humming. I went inside, looking around to see where the sound was coming from. As I got closer to the kitchen, I began to smell something divine. I entered the kitchen, and to my shock, it was my mom and Dad. Dad was reading the paper, and Mom was cooking something on the stove. Now, no smell, no matter how good, could mask the fact that my father and mother were in the same room without fighting. This rang off alarm bells in my head, so I began to feel a bit worried. "Hi, honey, how was school?" my mother asked me. That wasn't my mom. That wasn't her voice. It looked like her. These thoughts and others suddenly filled my head as I took in just how dangerous this situation could be. It was good. We made our schedules for the next school year, I answered, deciding that playing along would be the safest option. "That's good, sport. Come, sit down. Your mother's making some pancakes," the one who looked like my father had said, patting a nearby seat. Sure, just let me put my stuff away first." I figured if I could get to my room, I could sneak out my window and go to the neighbors. "All right, hurry back." I rushed to my room, locking the door behind me and pushing my dresser against it for good measure. I then made my way out my window next to my bed, getting it open and making my way out of it. As I was about to close my window, I heard a pounding at my door. "Honey, are you in there?" a female voice asked, rattling my doorknob. "Go away." My door began to shake as the person on the other side began pounding on it again, trying to force it open. I booked it away from my house and went next door, knocking on the door a few times, and when I was greeted by our neighbor, Miss Valentine, she said, "Are you okay, kid? You need to call the police." "What for?" "Something happened to my parents. They're different. It's not them in there." For a moment, it looked like she was going to send me away. But She must have been able to tell that I was being serious, so she let me inside. "Just wait there and I'll be right back," she said. She sat me down in the kitchen and got on the phone. She spoke to the police for a bit, explaining the situation before a knock was heard on the door. She handed me the phone and told me to keep them on the line as she went to answer it. My heart sank as I heard those same voices. "I'm sorry to bother you, but is my daughter with you? She ran away because she didn't like what we made for dinner." "No, she isn't. Sorry. I thought I saw her running up the street a few minutes ago. I was about to call you and see if everything was okay." I tried to keep out of sight as I heard them talk, until I heard the door close. Shortly after, Miss Valentine came back, her face completely devoid of color and her expression blank. "Are the police still on the line?" "Yes, ma'am," I said. "Okay, good." She handed me a knife and kept me close as she spoke to the police a bit longer before hanging up. "The cops will be here in a few minutes. They're going to take you somewhere where you can be safe, okay?" she told me. We both waited on the couch for a while. It was most likely only 10 minutes, but at that moment it felt like an eternity. Every noise freaked me out, because any noise could have been those two strangers trying to get in. After the 10 minutes, the cops knocked on the door, and I was taken to the police station. I was told that the two strangers were caught and arrested for impersonation. They had searched my home and found no trace of my father, suspecting that the two strangers had had something to do with it. I ended up being put into foster care, and I ended up being adopted 2 years later. That's where I am now. I have not been able to contact my father at all yet, though part of me doesn't want to. I don't know why those people wanted to impersonate my parents, and I can only imagine what would have happened to me if I believed them. Slightly abrupt ending, but a creepy situation nonetheless. Let me know what you thought of this story below, and I hope that you join me again next time.